6 in the morning, police at my door. Fresh Adidas squeak across the bathroom floor. Out my back window, I make my escape. Didn't even get a chance to grab my old school tape. Mad with no music, be happy cause free. And the streets to a player is the place to be. Got a knot in my pocket weighing at least $1,000. Gold on my neck.
What's up, everybody? We're totally paying attention and know what's going on today. No intro because everything.
Because we were locked in a cabin for the last 6 months.
What's that?
We were locked in a cabin for the last 6 months trying to escape.
Sure. You know the other episode's already come out, right?
Dang it.
Anyway, no, we couldn't think of anything clever on this episode, so we're not doing away with the narrative. It's just Dallas is just coming off of a stream and I'm coming off of a long day at work. So we're a little bit creatively fried, but we wanted to get this out to you because
you
tradition?
deserve it. Tradition.
Yes, you deserve it. But enough dilly-dallying and trying not to burp into the microphone. My name is John. I am your co-pilot this evening on this flight of madness. With me is my captain, Captain Dallas. He's a hero, gonna take gatekeeping down to 0. I don't.
I respect that. I respect that line. I hate gatekeeping. I think it's stupid.
It is stupid.
It's a real thing. Some people don't think it's a real thing, but
They're
is
stupid too.
And it's ignorant. So gatekeeping is a terrible thing. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, we are here to talk about movies and supposedly bad ones.
Yes.
What are we talking about? I forgot what cues we're supposed to be looking to and who's doing which section. So I'm
let me look down into the box, and we pulled out a lovely movie. And I say lovely with all the, like, the cover looks like the 90s. Like, it just does.
You're not telling me anything bad so far.
It's called Surviving the Game.
Oh, bro. I remember liking this movie.
Did you?
Maybe. I've seen it before. That I know. I've rented it on VHS. That I am certain of.
The box feels like it might have come from a rental store. Like not like a high dollar like Hollywood Video or Blockbuster, but like some mom and pop shop that like.
Is this one of those plastic boxes where you got to squeeze the sides and shake it real hard? I hate those things.
Get the VHS out.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and being as you're holding it, why don't you read the back of the box, and then by the time you're done, I'll have the Googleplex pulling up the information about the movie.
All right. The back of the box reads, explosive special effects and high caliber weapons make for the ultimate manhunt in this hard-hitting action adventure starring Ice-T, Rutger Hauer, Charles
Rutger Hauer.
Oh, Hauer, my bad. Gary Busey, and F. Maury Abraham. I felt like I just cursed in that line. Ice-T is Mason, a homeless man recruited by a band of wealthy hunters to lead an expedition into the Pacific Northwest. But on the first day of the hunt, he discovers that a lethal surprise. He is the prey. It's gut-wrenching action from start to finish as the game begins and the hunters learn a deadly lesson. Never underestimate a man who's got nothing to.
All right, let's take a look at the Googleplex here. Okay, in 1994, director Ernest Dickerson decided to take the classic most dangerous game trope to its gritty 90s flannel makeover with Surviving the Game. The plan was simple: round up a group of Hollywood's most intense character actors, including Rutger Hauer, F. Murray Abraham, and Gary Busey, who was clearly being paid an espresso in pure chaos for the first third of the movie, and let them hunt the most dangerous prey of all, a legendary rapper. They needed a leading man who could look at home in the wilderness and also looking like he just stepped out of the parental advisory sticker. I am so trying not to burp. I am so sad I took that sip of soda right before we recorded. So they hired Ice-T to play Jack Mason, a homeless man lured into the woods for a job opportunity. God, it happens to the best of us. That turns out to be nothing but a literal death match. It's hard to watch. sorry, it's hard to watch this now without waiting for Mariska. Bro, you're picking words. Mariska Hargitay to pop out of the bush and tell the hunters they're going to Rikers, but instead investigating a special teams victim unit. Ice-T is the special victim, trading his police scanner for survival skills to promote the OG's original game hunter. Between Gary Busey's unhinged monologue and the family about a family dog and Ice-T trying to avoid being part of the body count in the forest, the film did its best to make you think the trick of surviving the game was simply mind over matter. I am so sorry if I screwed that up at any point, Dallas. My eyes were going blurry in the middle of it.
Are you okay, man?
No. Because I'm sitting there trying to appreciate the Ice-T puns you were throwing in there, but at the same time, I'm just like, thinking and reading doesn't work well when I'm trying to do it out loud.
Right. I understand.
I was excited to see the body count reference, though. I own a few of their albums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So did you get the Law and Order reference?
Only after the fact.
Ah,
I know I don't watch SVU because that one's the one that gives me the ick.
that's fair. That's fair.
So
All right.
I don't think
Trivia
the
time.
trivia on here is correct, is it? No, it is not.
Nope.
I have trivia here. So I am sorry. I just stacked myself on top of myself with two parts together. No one to toss to. Hey, we're professionals here, everybody. You too can be a podcaster. Hi, hey. All right. So, looking at the unofficial co-host of the show, IMDb, we do have a little bit of factoids we can throw at you about this movie, including the fact that this movie released less than a year after Hard Target, which was released in 1993, with a similar plot about homeless people being hunted for sport. Did you ever see Hard Target? That's the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, so I am morally
Maybe.
against it.
Maybe. Let me look up the cover of it. Hard Target.
Yeah, it was 100% mullet era Jean-Claude.
I recognize the cover, so I'm gonna say probably. Oh gosh, yes, that mullet. Yep. I remember watching this. I don't remember what happened in it, but I remember that monstrosity on his head.
Yeah, this is before all his skeletons in his closet went on parade. So, But anyway, talking about a movie that we did watch, no sound stages were used for this film. The entire movie was shot on real locations, so no sound stage, which
Sweet.
makes me wonder if there's gonna be a lot of ADR in this movie. The derelict land where Jack Mason, which is the character played by Ice-T, lives in the old camper van, is now a Bank of America parking lot. And there is some social commentary in that fact alone that we're just not going to address here. But one of the numerous movies based off the short story The Most Dangerous Game, written by Richard Connell, first published in 1924 in Collier's magazine. The first movie based on the story was The Most Dangerous Game, which was filmed in 1932, which features Fay Wray, Joel McCrea, and Leslie Banks. And I have seen that movie.
Yeah.
It's okay. I checked it out from the library. It's short. If I remember right, I think it comes in at a very brisk 70 minutes.
Oh wow, that's quick for a movie.
Yeah, but it's very much to the point of we're on a boat, we're on an island, we're hunted, movie's over.
Sweet.
But that's kind of how movies were in the 1920s too. Like if I remember, King Kong was like stupid short too.
Oh, I can't remember.
I have the original Kong somewhere, but I it's not one I pull that off, and I'm not.
1933 King Kong has a runtime of an hour 40 minutes.
Really? I thought it was shorter than that.
Mm-mm.
Well, I stand corrected. So we
Well,
have
standing.
What's
You
that?
can sit down. You can sit down if you want to. You don't have to stand.
Who are you talking to, my guy?
You said you stand corrected. You don't have to stand.
Oh,
for it.
jeez.
You can sit down and relax. Okay.
Dad jokes, really? Branson's not here. You don't got to show out for anybody, my guy. All right. Well, do we have any community outreach for this?
We have a little bit of community outreach. Coming in from some guy named John.
I wonder who that is.
Goes, my first time seeing Ice-T act.
It's a fact. And it was also before my first time hearing him rap. So this is like literally my first exposure to Ice-T. The rapper,
Really?
not the beverage.
I was about to say, I've heard of Ice-T, the beverage, quite a bit growing up. I'm trying to figure out what my first Ice-T movie was. I'm going back through his repertoire of his films, and I don't think anything outside of Law and Order have I seen him do anything.
Really?
I don't think so.
That's too
Going
bad.
back.
He's always fun to watch. He's one of those guys, he kind of plays the same character in everything he does, but it's always interesting to see what that character does in the situations he's willing to act in.
Right.
Fun little piece of trivia outside of the movie. I've met Ice-T in real life.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I met him at a meet and greet in college when I first got out of high school. And he was doing a kind of a public speaking thing at my college. And I got to go to it for free. And I got to go to a kind of behind the scenes meet and greet and got one of those promo pictures that every actor has, a headshot. He signed it for me. He's a cool person in real life. He's kind of got that era of like, you can tell he's just like, I'd rather be somewhere else, but hey, you're here, so let's do this sort of thing.
I respect that.
But when he gets up on stage and he starts talking, that's where he's making his money, because he's an interesting guy to listen to talk if you ever get the opportunity. Although he does play for the audience that he thinks he's playing to, and he's very open about that. He's like, when I speak to kindergartners, I will talk like I'm talking to kindergartners. He goes, but when I'm speaking to an adult, I'm going to talk with adult language. So,
I get that. And I appreciate that he censors himself around the younger audience. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, he has an understanding of what's appropriate and what's not, but he also has an understanding of personal responsibility for adults to be where they should be, rather than going to places where they should know that they're going to be offended.
Exactly. I have figured out my first movie with Ice-T.
What's that?
Tank Girl.
He talked about that when at that meet and greet.
Yep.
Yeah, he talked about he got a lot of flack from his friends back in I don't want to say the hood, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And he goes, but you know what? He's like, I looked at the script and first thing I said was no. And then my manager told me how much they wanted to pay me to dress up as a kangaroo, and I said, a boing, boing, boing.
Yeah, Tank Girl and then Johnny Mnemonic were the two movies I saw him first in.
Bet.
And
I still haven't seen Johnny Mnemonic. This feels like foreshadowing.
I know, right? I have to go through the garbage can. Now, I will say this. Interesting thing I didn't realize till just now. He was a voice in Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He does do voice acting. He was a voice actor in Borderlands 3.
Yes, I see that. So, interesting.
I loved his character in Borderlands 3. All right, let's keep it. We are just sidetracking all over the place here. We haven't even made it to the movie watch bumper yet.
I know. All right. From Branson, a hard-hitting track on Skillet's Dominion album that wrong chat.
See, I would have been pleasantly shocked if Bam had seen. You know what I mean? Like,
I can guarantee there's no way he's seen this movie.
But the thing about it is, like, other than language, I don't see that there would be anything that might hold him up on that.
Just wasn't the vibe of the movies that him and his household watched growing up.
That's fair.
Like, not saying like it was like oh no, those movies aren't good for you. It's just like, it's not the vibe of his family. And so, from Francisco, one man on a mission to prove that one game can actually be won. I lost the game. And that's all the community outreach we have.
I don't play the game. That's the only way to win the game. So
you realize you are always playing the game.
You're only playing the game if you consent to it.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so expectations. We got to talk about expectations.
Yes.
That's not on the script here, but
lower expectations. All right.
Lowered expectations.
What is
I think I
from?
started the last one. You go ahead and let's throw your expectations out there, Dallas.
My expectations are, I hope to God this is better than Ice Cube's War of the Worlds.
That's a low bar to step over, my guy.
Not that
Like
Ice Cube and Ice T are the
I
same person, but
for real, I put Ice Cube's
no,
War of the
so
Worlds on the same level as Plan 9 from Outer Space, like 100%.
I think I would put Plan 9 from Outer Space above War of the Worlds.
No, I'm just saying as far as just bad movies are concerned. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about? Just that level, on that same level of what were they thinking?
Right.
Except in War of the Worlds, Ice Cube didn't actually point a gun at his face or have somebody else point a gun at him in just general conversation as they're just swaying it around.
Right. So for real, like my expectations for this movie, like just looking at the cover, and again, I've never seen this. I am familiar with the short story about the game, about the most dangerous game, and I think like most people read it in high school.
I didn't.
Really?
No, I watched the movie completely on a whim because I knew what it was about, and I had by the time I'd watched the movie, I was married and I had seen this movie. Okay, here's how stupid I was as a kid. I didn't know that this was a version of the most dangerous game until I was in my 30s.
Oh, okay.
Like I didn't put that together, even though there's a giant hint to it in the title of the movie. So
Indeed. Well, like I said, I've read the original story in high school. And so I have an idea what's supposed to happen. Just looking at the cover and the images on the back of it, like this feels like an 80s movie, or 90s movie. Like I make the joke about on the front end of that podcast about like this came from like a video store, but not like a high end one.
yeah,
Like I can, like I'm picturing, and if anybody is from Ash Grove, let me know if it's still there. But there used to be this video store. There are two videos. There's one in Ash Grove and one in Willard, which is about 15 minutes away. And that they were small video stores. They had like wood paneled walls and like they had stuff. And like it gives me that whole vibe of old video stores. I'm not sure who saw this in theaters. This isn't a highbrow. This is like, hey, it's Saturday.
This was like shot to tape sort of stuff.
Yeah, like let's get this. We'll watch it. We'll hang out on the couch. We'll eat some corn tortillas and butter and relax. Like it's one of those type of movies.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Like I kind of gave it away earlier that I'd seen this movie before, and for me, my expectation is kind of on that same level. Like for me, there's a certain quality of 90s movies
Mm-hmm.
that died in 2001 when 9/11 happened,
Right.
where the action was like super tongue-in-cheek and realism didn't matter and things could be over the top and stupid because people understood movies as an escape rather than something to be ultra realistic.
Yeah.
So
Good point. Like that is something we're missing. We're going on tangents here, but there's something about there was a time frame where movies didn't have to tell you anything. It's just something for you to enjoy, and I think that's one thing I am looking forward to about this movie because this is like if this was made today, there will be. And I'm sure there's cultural commentation in this in some fashion, but the whole thing would be just one big cultural commentation about something happening in the world.
oh, for sure.
And like the action and the explosions and all that kind of stuff would just be completely lost.
For sure. But like I was saying though, I'm expecting basically sort of like surf ninjas for adults. You know that you understand what I'm saying? Like there was a style of movie back then that was like that, and we're missing it, and that's kind of what my expectation is.
Mm-hmm. I'm down for it. Let's rock and roll with it.
Dear listeners, this is your opportunity to escape. Our crew has just entered into the media projection chamber. What horrors and madness that they consume are unknown. Their mental state upon their return is unknown. You have been warned.
I don't know, man. Like coming out of a movie after looking at a boar's head just sitting on a table, what stares at you while you're eating, it kind of throws me off from thinking straight.
I mean, you're looking at it. Why can't it look at you?
It looks at me. It looks at you. Oh my gosh. All right.
So spoiler-free dialogue. The effects in this movie did not stand the test of time.
Oh gosh, no, not at all. Like there's a lot of it that was just like even like from scene to scene, like we've gotten spoiled even from like scene makeup and like, well, so let's say we're watching a Korean show, and like from episode to episode, like people's wounds are still there. We're watching Fringe from 2009, and from like two episodes after an event where somebody breaks their arm is still in a cast. And in this, it's like at the beginning, Ice-T's is like caught in a rainstorm, and then the next scene, he's dry as a bone. Just like, "Yeah, that's fine. No worries. We're just gonna go rob this place of some meat." It's like the continuity of makeup and the special effects was just super oof.
Yeah. This is one of like I was talking about at the beginning of this episode, how there's a certain characteristic in movies we lost after September 11th.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of that is that they didn't feel like there was a need to pay attention to the finite details
Mm-hmm.
in order to focus more on the central narration that they're trying to put out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's all there was to this movie was plot. Like there's no character development. There's no, it's just these people did this thing, the end. And
Right.
that's all it really was. And to a certain degree you can say, yeah, filmmaking's gotten better with that certain amount of continuity, but I think it's sort of like what we're starting to see in the video game world,
Mm.
where AAA is so polished and the budgets for them are so over ballooned that the cost to return ratio seems to be so diminished at this point that it's just like
Right.
all they can really do is just meet expectations, whereas the AA market is just absolutely killing it financially. Um,
Right.
and I kind of feel like if we had more movies that paid less, and it sounds so counterintuitive, I know, but if we had more movies that paid a little bit less attention to the details and were more focused on the overall experience of the movie, I have a feeling that cinema wouldn't be in the circumstances that it is now.
Yeah. Branson and I were just talking about this topic earlier today. We're talking. So for those of you who don't know, I've written a book and I'm in the editing stages and trying to get it out. But I've been in the process of been researching about books and how to write stuff and write good stories and stuff like that. And now my book's a nonfiction, but in the whole process, and we're talking about there's this whole issue within the fantasy realm and all these other storytellings where everyone wants to be the next Tolkien. They want to have like this like library of lore, and they want to have their own encyclopedia, and they're just complicating things and still telling a good story. And so you have like chapters and chapters of prose, and you got the same thing with movies, almost like when we reviewed Dune from 1984. You know, going to the movie, you had to have a booklet to understand what you're about to watch,
Yeah.
and nobody's worried about the experience. Are people going to have fun and enjoy the movie? And and when there is a movie that's like that, it's so poo-pooed by the super critics that are out there. They're like, "Oh, this is absolute trash." I'm like, "But it was fun. I'm willing to pay money to have fun, to
Mhm.
switch off my brain for a second."
I think people get so caught up in the fact that movies are art
Mm,
that they also forget that movies are also entertainment.
mhm,
And if you fall off one side or the other, you're going to end up with trash in either circumstances. Either it's going to be pretentious trash
mhm.
or it's going to be idiotic trash.
Right.
But if you don't maintain a balance, it just kind of becomes trash, basically.
Yeah. Now that's
I
not to
mean,
say there was
was this movie a life-changing movie? No. You know what? It was stupid fun. I love seeing Dr. Cox with a mustache getting tied to a tree and then getting oh no, sorry, that's spoiler stuff.
Well, you kind of brought it up, but like the characters, there was some stuff to the characters. There was a level of I don't want to say there was a lot of depth. There's about ankle deep of depth with some of these characters, but you had a background for some of them.
Mhm.
Now they blew through their backgrounds real quick, but it was still not done where we're like taking this deep psychological thriller going into like, what is wrong with Gary Busey? Well, sit down, Bethy, because there's going to be a long conversation about that.
Actually, that means two things, because in the movie there is a long conversation about that, and if you're asking in real life,
It's a long conversation. Oh my gosh. So I'll say this. One thing that I appreciated was that it felt like a 90s film. Like the way, like we were watching it on your digital account. So we weren't watching on VHS or anything like that, but there was a texture to the film itself. And I appreciated that. I kind of, one of the things I appreciate about doing this show with you is that we watch these horror movies, and I remember how much I miss texture when it comes. So much things are even when we did the one last week, like there's a level of that millennial polish that's there where it's like a little shiny everywhere. There was texture to this film in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I could see that, and I think part of it, I think it was legitimately shot direct to tape, and then it was a tape transfer to film for theater, because that's what it felt like to me. Is it felt very either tape or overexposed, or not to the same degree of overexposure that you get from movies like Velocipaster, but
Right.
there was a little bit of almost damaged film effect to it, or overexposed video, or tracking slightly off.
Definitely. Did it feel like the storytelling was fast though? Like it felt like the story picked up and ran. Once you get past the first 5 minutes, you're in it.
100%. And I wouldn't be shocked to find out that there's scenes that have been wholesale cut out of this film. That there's a specific scene that you and I are both thinking about now that I said that.
Yes.
But I have a feeling that there's stuff that there, to cut it down for just a brisk runtime. I have a feeling some stuff got trimmed out.
I mean, it's an hour and a half, that was the average movie length of the
right. But what I'm saying is I think that they cut scenes out to hit that hour and a half is what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I feel like we need to just go ahead and go into spoilers, man, because
let's do it, because there's stuff I'm sure we both want to talk about.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, the spoiler section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Talk about it, because if you don't, I'm going to.
All right. There's several things to talk about. What's the one thing we talked about missing scenes, and this is where I feel like we need to reach out to the community and ask for help. There is a moment where Ice-T is running through the woods, and let me make sure I got these guys' names correctly.
It's John C. McGinty's character.
Yeah. He is like, he separates from the rest of the pack because he's hunting them out. And then we see that Ice-T kind of set up this little decoy where he put cigarettes on a tree, and they're like, oh, he set us up. And all of a sudden, there's a glitch on the screen. There's a little green line, and then it cuts over, and we see John Griffin, which is John C. McKinley's character, tied up in a cave with Ice-T. Well, I'm sorry, it jumps over. All of a sudden, it's like there's a scene where Burns is talking with another character. They're like, we're going to find him. Don't worry about it. And then it cuts over to this cave, and he's got the guy tied up. And like there's a whole like scene that's just missed. Like, how did he capture him? What happened here? And I'm genuinely confused by this situation.
Like I said, I have a feeling that scene was cut out. But that's also kind of a part of 90s film storytelling that I do kind of vaguely remember, is that there would be stuff that's implied that happens off screen that they just expect you to run with because they didn't write it in for whatever reason.
A big implication that took place.
I know, but I also
like, how did he capture him?
I also remember like, oh, it was just implied he went off with the group, and then like when he went off with the group, the first thing that went through your mind is, oh, he's going to get himself caught.
Yeah.
And then it showed him getting caught, so you weren't shocked when you saw it.
But you know what this reminded me of, though?
What's that?
This moment where it made this jump. It reminded me of like when you would rent a VHS from a store, and it make a little jump. And the reason why it made a jump was because some crackhead let their child play with the VHS tape.
Oh, somebody spliced the VHS. Is what
They
you're
had to
saying.
splice the VHS and put it back together. I can't help but wonder if this high quality digital copy
Was spliced
a
from a
copy.
VHS.
And that's why it did that.
Oh no!
Is this another situation like Metropolis where there's lost footage out there and we're gonna find it later hidden in a
Bro, ain't nobody holding out for the original theater release of Surviving the Game, my guy. I like Ice-T as much as the next. I like Rutger Hauer as much as the next guy, but I'm not holding my breath for that piece of film.
I need to know, somebody out there in listener land, if you got this on VHS, I need you to find this. Let us know. Are we missing something or not?
It just also could have been a really bad edit.
It could have been about it. Oh my gosh. That was the big thing I wanted to point out first off, because Celeste, I literally paused the movie and rewound as if it was like a skip on a DVD and go, what just happened?
Having watched movies with you guys in the same room before, I can see how that it would happen with you guys. And I'm sure there's probably a 5-minute conversation in there too. Like, I don't understand. It was just like, it was there, but do I have to restart the movie? Like, is the file going bad?
Oh my gosh. What was something you want to talk about?
You know, I was going to talk about the weird cut there too, but I also was kind of playing a little bit devil's advocate because I have seen poor storytelling, visual storytelling from the 90s that does that before.
Right.
As far as, I mean, just going as far as content, because I mean, that's really what a lot of people are probably asking about. This movie isn't like stupid, over the top gory.
No.
One thing that somebody may take issues with that may be a trigger point is that two of the hunters is a father-son team.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you right now that neither of them survive. So do with that what you will. The son is about 18 or 19, if that sweetens the pot or makes it less applicable. I don't know how triggers work. I don't really have much of them.
Right.
So, but basically, yeah. So if you're thinking about watching this movie and then violence done towards somebody's child or somebody's offspring is an issue for you, might not be your thing. I will say that the violence done to him is not direct violence specifically at him, but just generalized.
Right. Well, they're trying to kill Ice-T as a
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically the kid's not. He was kind of covering for him, and like he was trying to get out of the situation. So that it was kind of a bummer when the kid died, actually, in my opinion, because I was just like, oh, well, he can have a better way. But I suppose given the circumstances, none of the hunters really could survive the end. Oh, I just spoiled the ending for you. There you go, everybody.
Well, I think what bothers me about that whole situation with the kid, again, talking about the storytelling, the kid's like, he's covering for him. He's trying to help him get away. He doesn't like the little quote unquote pep talk that his dad gives him. But at the end, he's like, I know, but he's like, this is wrong. Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he's like, all right, I hope you kill him, but then we're out of here. I'm like, it was such a switch off of like from where he was to this.
Well, it was, I think it was mostly just because, by the time that kid switched off, he had already killed 2 people on the team up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
actually, no, he had only killed 1 person on the team because John C. McGinley's character, he let him go.
Yeah.
And it was Rutger Hauer that killed him.
Right. Yeah.
But he did kill Gary Busey, and that was a pretty awesome fight scene. Like that was like the most Gary Busey exit I've ever seen Gary Busey do.
It was kind of funny actually when he just comes running out of the door into the camera, just like like it felt like I thought he was about to do a Kindle commercial, an Amazon commercial with it. But that fight scene was legitimately, I think that was probably the best part of the movie. Actually, was that fight scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like there really were only 2 real fight scenes in my opinion. Well, I'd say there's 3. There was one in the woods and with the one guy, and that was kind of a lame fight. It was in the shadows and it was kind of weird. You had the one at the end and then you had the one Gary Busey. I thought the one with Gary Busey was the most, I don't want to say entertaining fight, but it was the most action and the most.
It was the most
fight.
engaging fight.
Mm-hmm.
To be perfectly honest, I would put it at the same level as the fight with Rutger Hauer at the end. Albeit for different, I like them both equally for different reasons. Like the Gary Busey fight was, yes, this is the fight I was expecting.
Right.
Whereas the Rutger Hauer one was sort of, without you being a horror film fan, I don't know if I could really explain it to you, but it was sort of the Survivor Girl moment where that in horror films where the Survivor Girl finds her inner strength and turns the horror around on the boogeyman. And so like in this scenario, Ice-T would be the Survivor Girl and Rutger Hauer would be the boogeyman.
Okay. Yeah. I'm familiar with that trope.
So that's kind of what it felt like to me, especially when he rigged that one ATV to blow up.
Yeah. Which was kind of a cool scene. At the same time, it's like, bro, you didn't notice this like pipe, this wire going into your gas tank? Like,
I mean, to be fair though, if you're running, you're not really paying attention to that sort of thing either. So
I also say that was kind of a wild moment though, where you see Charles Dutton's character with no legs, and he's kind of out of it, like he's speaking out of his mind. Although it was kind of a weird situation because I felt like within that scene, the conversation between him and Thomas Burns, like they almost assumed like there was an emotional attachment that we should know about them. And it was just more weird. Like he was super emotional about the loss of this guy. But it was like, there's been no build up to explain their friendship, why they're close or anything like that. Like if anything, they just seem like business partners.
I could see that. Again, it's the paying attention to this finer details that they didn't do in lieu of the larger story.
Right.
I have a feeling this probably was written by several people, and they just kept the parts of each script that they liked and kind of Frankensteined it together.
Right.
Because I mean, if we're being honest, really this movie is just kill scene the movie. Because it's what it is. It's a slasher movie in reverse.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
So
let's see here. Looking through my notes, see what else. Okay, so maybe I missed something, but they made it there's a scene where he's talking to the wolf. Like there's a wolf that pops up, he talks to the wolf, and it's almost this foreshadow, like okay, this is gonna come up again. Like this is like if you see a gun in the first act, it's gonna show up in the third act. Did the wolf ever show back up again, or was that just like a random out of pocket moment just to throw in there?
No, it was just the Disney moment.
Okay, or was the wolf part of the cutscene that we're missing?
That could also be the case. Or were they playing on this being a franchise and they're trying to set the wolf as a character in the second film?
This time he's out for a girl named Red.
Surviving the Game 2. Snake Eyes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll say this about the whole rigging the thing to blow that was a good payoff, because in the beginning of the movie, Ice-T mentions that he was a mechanic, and there's that little bit of drop that gave him the information that he needed. Let us know that he could feasibly rig that ATV to explode the way it did. And so I appreciated that there was some stuff that took place there to
see.
Make it
you
happen.
Caught something I didn't, because I didn't remember him saying that. So,
oh yeah.
I just took it as, well, they showed him doing it, so he can do it.
Oh my gosh. But
that's what being raised in the 80s did for me, Dallas. It taught me not to ask questions at the movies I watch.
I get that. Did you find the check the barrel thing to be all that impactful? Because they tried to cue that up like that was it was a bookend, obviously, but it didn't feel like there was any real, like, we didn't reference his friend from the beginning of the movie much at all. Like
when I saw that at the very beginning and the homeless friend said, I'm like, okay, they're just saying that to set something up later in the movie. So I expected it. I mean, what the homeless guy said is true. Never shoot a gun unless you are intimately familiar with its operation and you know that it's clean and serviceable.
Right.
that's a legitimate thing. It's not so much, oh, check the barrel. It's, oh, make sure you check the whole gun before you do anything with it. But checking the barrel is part of that.
Right.
But if it's a gun you're familiar with, stuff doesn't magically end up in your barrel. So like if you have a firearm in a gun safe or that's kept in a secure, clean location, it's not going to magically plug up on you or anything like that. So
Yeah.
um, with me being the guy who gets upset at poor gun representation in movies, I wouldn't classify that as being one of those situations. It was kind of one of those things where if you know anything about guns, you already know that. I didn't know
Mhm.
if they were trying to set it up as Ice-T knowing anything about guns,
Mhm.
which is hard for me to suspend my belief that hard knowing his musical career. But
Right.
um yeah, so it wasn't a rage moment for me like some of the other things we've talked about on the show.
Right. Right. Let's see here. There
I
was a
was actually
moment.
kind of a bit more grateful that they didn't go more specifically into what their guns were because I felt like that was just asking for inaccuracy.
Right. There was a moment in the beginning where they had this weird whimsical music playing in the background while they're having this like pseudo deep world building conversation where Mason and his homeless friend are talking. And I literally went, who's scoring this? Because the music just didn't fit the tone and the vibe for it. And it made me nervous for the rest of the film. But going into the film, it balanced out. It was like it was like a bad moment of planning. But the rest of the film, I thought that the scoring of it, and there wasn't like a lot of scoring going into it,
Mm-mm.
but I felt like it had a good tone all the way through, except for that one freaking moment.
I could dig it. Um, I figured it out. I would liken this movie to basically this movie is basically like Ice-T's Pitch Black or Pitch
Oh,
Dark. You know, talking about the Vin Diesel movie.
yeah, yeah.
It feels like a elevated made for TV movie.
Yes. Yes, it does. It feels like like the Sunday afternoon.
This was made for like TNT or TBS, but it
Right.
ended up being better than your typical schlock, and so it got a theater run sort of thing.
Yeah,
That's the vibe
definitely.
of this movie, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely is. 100%. So, I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, I ran out of topics a long time ago. My guy, you've been carrying this, though. If your arm's hurt, that's the reason why. You've been carrying the episode.
I've been
Uh,
carrying the episode.
all right, let's let's
Um,
let's head on over to the. Oh no, we can't do reconnections yet because we still have to rate it.
yes.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, on this show, we rate our movies as such. First of all, we have the top shelf rating, which is sort of like us saying, I need to own this movie. I'm going to watch it more than once. Middle shelf is, gosh, I got the burps. I am so sorry. Middle shelf is, maybe if it was streaming, I'd watch it. Bottom shelf is probably not going to watch this guy again. And dumpster fire is, I will actively try to keep people from watching this movie. So, that being said, that is how we rate these movies. That is what this whole show has been ramping up to. Dallas, how would you rate this movie?
Okay, this is where I'm at. This is legit. All right. Am I like, I need to watch Surviving the Game again? Nope. Not gonna do that. Not gonna be like, I'm going to log on to John's software and watch this movie. I'm not gonna go down to the last abandoned VHS filled video game or video store in the middle of Nowheresville, Missouri, and rent this from a guy who has probably 3 front teeth, and that's it. But if I come home on a Sunday afternoon and I'm kind of passing out on the couch and it's on, I won't turn it off. So I'm gonna put this kind of like a low middle shelf. Like it's kind of hanging on there. It's like,
Yeah,
all right, it's there. It's
that's
a thing
fair.
that exists.
Yeah, it's noise. It's background noise.
Yeah, yeah. But not like active background. Like I'll purposely put on certain things in the background while I'm doing some stuff. This is oh, it's there type of background noise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I get it. I I'm also going to put it on the middle shelf, but I'm a upper middle shelf just because I'm a sucker for just dumb action.
Okay.
There's something nostalgic about dumb action films that just they make me happy. Like, did you ever see the second Expendables movie?
Yeah, I like that one.
That one was my favorite Expendables movies just because it leaned so hard into the dumb action.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of leans into it too, albeit not intentionally. It just happened to be the fashion of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this would be something I probably would come home on a Sunday, beat down on, but would intentionally put on to have in the background and be like, I'm gonna put this on because I want to watch something that I don't have to think about like at all.
Right.
Um, and this fills that gap for me. And I need dumb movies sometimes just because I don't want to think all the time. I get tired after a while and I just need something to switch my brain off and look at flashing lights for a little bit. And let's face it, if this movie had Edward Norton in it, you know, it wouldn't have I'd be thinking way too hard about the implications of every single thing that happens on the screen.
Yes.
So
Yes, you would.
So there you
I'm
have
trying
it,
to think who
everybody.
Ed Norton would be.
We have an undisputed middle shelf. I think we've all agreed on that. What did you think at home, everybody? Why don't you participate in our online communities at the Facebook group of Devoted Geeks or on our Discord? Let us know what you thought about this movie. I'd be interested in hearing what you guys think about dumb 90s action or what your philosophy is on the changing of action movies post 9/11. That's a conversation I've kind of been toying with the idea of maybe every so often having a bonus episode of just a conversation about movies, not so much about a movie. You know, just kind of flesh those thoughts out about, hey, let's talk about the evolution of action movies. I don't know. Just thoughts on film, everybody.
I like it.
All right. Well, let's head on over to the weak connections and hear what Pastor Dallas can salvage of this movie, because I've got nothing I can pull out of this that I'd be like, this reminds me of something good and pleasant.
This is a weak connection.
All right, everybody, welcome to the weak connection section where Pastor Dallas Mora is going to edify us with the word of God today.
All right, for this weak connection, we didn't really hit on this, but the whole premise of this whole movie is that Ice-T's character is a homeless gentleman. He's going through a food line, and this guy who's like helping to like provide for him goes, "Hey man, I might be able to help you out with a job." And he gives him a card, and it's like one of the guys setting him up and hunting him down. And like they're preying on a person who has lost everything. The idea is that these are people beneath us, and that's kind of what takes place within the movie as a whole. Is this running idea of it's the same running idea of this within the book itself, is that there's this class system that takes place, and some people look down on lower classes. They're nothing more than something to be hunted. There's just sport, and which is a terrible thing. And so my weak connection is actually going to the book of Matthew, chapter 25. Jesus talking about starting in verse 31, when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne, and all the nations will gather before him, and he will separate the people one from another as a shepherd separates sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right, the goats on his left. The king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world." I'm reading a lot, I apologize, but here's where we'll get to the point, verse 35. "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to me." And then the righteous answered him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you?" And they go on to repeat, all these things. In verse 40, the king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did to one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." And the whole idea of this is that if you are taking care of other people, that it's a reflection of you also caring for the Lord. And the reality is that God cares about every person, even the least of these. And so if you are just a grade A butthole to everybody in your life, especially those who you are looking down upon, you're doing it to God. And God honors people who takes care of those who are in need. He honors those who takes care of those who are less fortunate. And I'm not going to get into like crazy, like run with it, doing weird stuff with it, because some people, this conversation gets weird for some people. to the point where some people have taken it to the point of self-deprivation, where it's like, oh, well, I gotta always do this, even if it hurts me. Throw that out the window. That's false humility. There is a balance. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't help other people. But we do need to have our eyes open and try our best to take care of people as best we can. Celeste and I had a interesting opportunity a couple weeks ago. We were just at Kroger, and there was a lady came out of the blue. She needed some stuff, and so Celeste and I did what we could. We couldn't do much. We did what we could to help her. We had something that we could, and we did. And the Lord honors that. He blesses that. And I want to encourage you guys to be intentional about looking around you. Who's in need? Who needs some help? And if you can, do what you can. Don't hurt yourself. Don't put if it comes down to you paying for your groceries, unless the Lord is telling you to do it specifically, take care of your groceries, but have an eye open for people. Take care of folks, even the small things. It means the world. And that's my weak connection.
All right. And once again, like I said, I couldn't come up with anything because my brain is just not as holy as Dallas is, but I do what I can when I can. All right. Once again, we'd love to hear what you have to say. Visit us on the previously mentioned socials. Go check us out on the interwebs at geekdevotions.com.
Yes.
Shoot us an email at geekdevotions@gmail.com if you have a movie suggestion. We'd love to be able to hear it. We also take those suggestions on the Discord and Face Spaces as well. We reserve the right to say no, but more often than not, we do take suggestions to heart.
Yeah.
There has been many suggestions that have made it onto the show. So if you want to interact with us, we support interaction.
Yeah, definitely.
Am I missing anything? Oh, Captain, my Captain.
I don't think so, boss.
All right. Well, that being said, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to us. And I'm just going to follow that whole YouTube trend right now and just mention that chances are about 80% of the people who are listening and or watching the show on whatever network that they are listening and or watching to it on are not subscribed to the show. And statistically the case in a lot of cases, people just show up regularly and don't realize that they're not subscribed. So I'd like to go ahead and ask you to take a moment to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ask for updates if you're so inclined. That is the easiest way for people to help us out without spending a single dollar. They've changed the algorithms on a lot of socials, so it's based more off of interaction than just listening. So leave a message, interact with a subscription or a like on the episode or whatever you do. It's super easy to support creatives that you want to support without having to spend a single dollar.
Word.
So that being said, thank you so much for choosing us for your podcast enjoyment at this time of your life. And until next time, stay devoted.
Peace and love.
Later, kids.